City won the treble and now they're off on tour to Asia for the pre-season games ahead of the 2023-2024 season as reigning Champions League holders, Premier League winners and FA Cup holders. It's going to be an interesting season, and it's going to be a little taste of it with this pre-season tour because City have named their 25-man squad, and of course the big surprise, the shock omission, or maybe not so shocked omission, is that Mahrez is not going to be involved. We'll discuss that, the players involved on this tour, and much more. Please do hit like on this video if you want to see more of this kind of content, and subscribe to the channel as well. Welcome to all those watching live, and all those who aren't watching live, keep watching till the end as well. It should be a good video, I promise you. Anyway, how are you all doing today? Are you well? It's an interesting one. It's a spicy one. There's plenty to talk about. I will jump over straight to that squad. 1 second, let me go over there. Yeah, I'll go over to the squad, which I went over on Man City's website and it had it in like this really weird kind of funky order. I'll show you now. I'll go over here. I had it like in squad number in order and that's just confusing that. So what I've done, I've been kind, I broke it down by position for you guys, so you can see it via position, because it's just a bit, it's just a bit of a mess, isn't it? This is what I broke it down to over in notes. The goalkeepers are Ederson, Stefan Ortega and Scott Carson. Your defenders, Kyle Walker is on tour, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Joao Cancelo. Interesting. Americ Laporte travels too. Sergio Gomez, Manuel Akanji and Rico Lewis. Your midfielders, you got Calvin Phillips. You got Mateo Kovacic, the new man there, of course. It's £30 million signing from Chelsea. Croatian international. Looking forward to seeing him. Rodri, the Champions League winner. Kevin De Bruyne. He travels, which is a good sign. I thought he was out. Too. He looks good in the pictures I've seen. Bernardo Silva, of course, travels as well, which is also good news. Maximo Peroni and Phil Foden. Then your forwards, Erling Haaland, the big man, Jack Grealish, Julian Alvarez, Oscar Bob, you player, James McAtee, and Cole Palmer. So it's not actually that many U players, which has surprised me. The only real U players I'd say are there. You probably count, Rico Lewis is, but normally there's one or two more. Peroni maybe, McAtee and Bob. It's pretty much it, really. There's only really 3 players you aren't involved regularly in the squad there that have come in. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this squad and this team develops during these preseason games. I mean, the ones, of course, Carlos Borges not in. No, some of the big names you want to be in there. I mean, I'm going to reorganize this now as we're watching. Obviously, the ones that we weren't sure of, that weren't sure of the future of, I'll highlight right now. These guys. Then who else? Bernardo Silva. These are the ones we weren't sure of the future of, but they've managed to stay around. They're still here, which is, I mean, they're still on this tour. There's still a chance, of course, that Walker, Cancelo, Laporte, Bernardo Silva could go. But it's interesting that Cancelo has turned up. I suspect there's a little bit of humble pie, because obviously he watched his teammates win the treble. He can't walk in and be like, you can't walk in and be too moody. He's got to respect, he's got to respect his colleagues there, and I'm sure he will do. But Cancelo is there, and he's involved. He's involved in this pre-season tour, which is sort of mental, but it's also at the same time kind of fascinating, if you know what I mean. Like, I do wonder. I did actually the We're Not Really Here podcast of BBC Manchester yesterday, and I did pose a question on Twitter earlier about, is there a way back for Joao Cancelo? And pretty much everyone replied saying no. I said, I can't see... The way I responded to it, well, the only way we'll know is if Guardiola, he has to apologise to Guardiola. I mean, he has to. He has to be contrite. He has to grow up a little bit, basically. If he comes back into the squad, it's because he said something to Guardiola to sort of calm the waters a little bit. And I think the fact that he's on this tour, by the way, is actually a decent sign for Joao Cancelo, because if he was that toxic, I just don't think he'd be on the tour full stop. I don't think he would be. And that's the interesting story for me with Joao Cancelo. So I think the fact that he's here shows that he's probably actually turned out to be like a little bit more open for a chat, you know? Like, I don't know, maybe even more reasonable. Maybe he's chatted a little kinder with Guardiola and he sort of sorted his future out a tiny bit. Obviously, the interesting names here for me are Oscar Bob. Now, Oscar Bob, we saw some rumours going around that Oscar Bob would be involved with the first team a little bit this year. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it seems like it's true. It seems like it is true. Oscar Bob is a really gifted young attacker, somewhere between a David Silva, Riyad Mahrez, and Leroy Sané. Honestly, that sounds like a crazy comparison. Obviously, he's not those levels. But stylistically, obviously I'm talking a lesser player still because he's young. But stylistically, you get the creativity of a bit of a David Silva. You get the bursts of pace of a Leroy Sané. You get the dribbling of a Mahrez in tight control. And you get the goal for it as well. Obviously, he's talent. He's been fantastic for Norway at the under-20s, I think under-20 Euros. He was absolutely excellent for the EDS last season. He's been a bit of a hidden gem for the academy side. And Oscar Bob being involved in this does indicate that he could be involved in the first team next season. James McAtee, very much back. I've just noticed, by the way, no Tommy. I'm actually going to put a new cat. I'm going to put notable absentees. And I'm going to say they are Mahrez and Borges. They, to me, are the ones that I thought we'd see involved potentially. Obviously Mahrez is like everyone's going to miss him, but I would say Borges could have got a chance. Tommy Doyle could have got a chance potentially, but Borges, I'm going to guess he's just Daim Abude's not there either. That would have been a decent one, but I'm going to guess that Guardiola's just sort of decided these are the ones that are getting a chance. I thought there'd be more young players there too. It's just only Peroni, McAtee, and Palmer. Sorry, and Bob. It's a little bit of a shame, but the same way, and say that McAtee, sometimes you tell, like, people like Ben Knight have been on these tours for ages, and they're always there, and they're not going to get a chance, because they're just there because they're sort of making up the numbers. And I do think one or two of these players, like Shea Charles, would have been there, I reckon, if he hadn't signed, Who else? Who else is left? Callum Doyle might have even been on tour. No, we don't need him because we've got too many defenders. I don't know. I thought Mabudi might get a chance. I think Shea Charles would have been there. McAtee, by the way, I'm really happy about that. McAtee is an excellent player. He was excellent at Sheffield United. And the fact that he's going to be involved in this first team as well, he's absolutely, in my opinion, going to be involved. I really think he is. Is the stream working okay for everyone, by the way? I think I'm having a lot of issues at my end. It's showing an awful lot of lagging. I don't know if it's working. I'm sorry if it is, but I don't know what to do. I think my internet's been a bit funky, unfortunately. I might have to restart my router. I'm sorry if you're not getting this, but the squad's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to see how it goes. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. It's just been really, really nasty, the internet for me. I don't know what's causing it. Unfortunately, my internet's been a bit poor, but the big story, of course, is no Riyad Mahrez. Now, we obviously know Riyad Mahrez is moving on. We don't want to see that. But he's obviously going to Al-Ahly. It's pretty much set in stone at this point. He's clearly going back, leaving Manchester City and going to Saudi. This isn't working, isn't it? It's dropped. It's pretty much gone, hasn't it? I'm so sorry, everyone. It's just... I think it's failed, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I think it's broken. I'm so sorry, guys. I'll have to end it there, unfortunately. But I'll come back and do another live later, maybe. But I'll have to leave it there. I'm so sorry.